All right, good afternoon, everyone. I am Emma Toops, the Executive Chair for American Warriors and the facilitator for the Purple Connection. This event is hosted and sponsored by Toops Consulting, LLC. David and I are connectors, coaches, and consultants in Toops Consulting, and we thank you all for being here. We welcome especially to those who this is your first time to be at a Purple Connection event. And for our new attendees, thank the person who invited you as they felt you might benefit or contribute by being part of this community. To our regulars, it's good to see you again. Next slide for the agenda. All right, I'll be doing an introduction. We'll have the program, some transition tips after the panel program and Q&A, and then things to get involved in and announcements for next month and a wrap up. Next slide. All right, first, an introduction to American Warriors and the Purple Connection. American Warriors is a special interest group of the ACA Business Club, which is a private club with the philosophy that business flows out of relationships. People do business with those that they know, like, and trust. Thus, members are committed to creating solid connections by learning and practicing the fundamentals of strategic networking and relationship building. American Warriors then are club members who have an affinity with or support those who have served our country in military or public service. The mission statement for American Warriors is: we provide educational and networking opportunities for patriotic citizens who are leaders in business and support the transition into private and public sector business of active duty service members and first responders. The Purple Connection is one vehicle for American Warriors to fulfill its mission. The challenges of transitioning from the military is a very well-researched problem. It's evident by the multitude of military support nonprofits and community organizations that support services that provide services to address them. Driving Community Impact was a white paper published in April of 2015 by the IVMF of Syracuse University. It determined after several years of research and thousands of surveys that the leading gap in services was not the lack of support and services, but the lack of connectedness of the services and support. Very often, transitioning military will feel a loss of purpose. They'll feel isolated or misunderstood, or feel overwhelmed for their need of help, but they feel disconnected or lack affinity to the people and culture of their new environment. Next slide. So how do you solve it? You create a partnership of stakeholders who have a common goal for supporting American Warriors. The Purple Connection is a community of partner stakeholders with a common focus of service, support, and care so that we can effectively address the challenges of transition. Next slide. So what is up with the name? There's actually two reasons for it. In government jargon, the color for joint is purple. When our military is operating overseas on a deployment, that environment is comprised of a multitude of seemingly disparate entities with differing purposes, but they have a common purpose through the operation that unites and focuses their effort. The Purple Connection is an attempt to replicate this type of joint environment to support the American Warrior in transition. So another reason is that when you combine the colors of red and blue, you get purple. So in the Purple Connection, we're facilitating the connection of individuals who identify more closely to either the military community or the military support and business community. And when they come together, it's a Purple Connection. So here are the vision and mission of the Purple Connection. We create awareness to enable access and then empower action through collaboration and encouragement to expedite reintegration, support growth and healing, and enable opportunities. We do this by regularly bringing together community experts and facilitating connections through educational networking. All right, this is the rules of engagement for our panel program and our networking. Each participant will have 8 minutes to deliver their remarks. I will have a timer. The time can be stopped short and given back for specific Q&A or used up entirely by the panelists. However, when the timer goes off, please wrap up and we will move on to the next presenter. Once each presenter has spoken, there'll be 15 minutes for Q&A with the community. If you're uncomfortable with public speaking or want to remain anonymous with your question, you can private chat your question to me and I will ask it for you. Please be succinct in your questions and direct them to a specific panelist or to the community if what you have as a question is a little bit more general. If you have a complicated question, you can ask it to discover if there is a subject matter expert in the community, but if it takes a little longer than 2 minutes to address, I'll recommend that you do a follow-up after the event. After the Q&A, there'll be 8 minutes for our transition tip speaker, who will provide an educational program or presentation for paradigm shifts and process shifts or potentially some resources that apply to the topic of the day. After the presentations, if you haven't already shared your information, do so in the public chat, what it is that you offer, how you serve the community in support of the American Warrior, or if you are the American Warrior or in transition, what kind of help you are looking for. The chat will be saved and all attendees will receive a cleaned up copy of that in a future email. And you can follow up with each other as you like. All right, I will do event announcements and then wrap up the event. Okay, I'm looking at our list of folks. And hopefully our first presenter is going to be here. It might be someone who's in lieu of. Okay, so first up is our veteran entrepreneur. Next slide. I don't see Matt on, but I'm hoping someone representing the organization is on. I'll go ahead and do the introduction and see who pipes up when I finish the introduction. Okay, Matt Lawson is an Army retiree. He retired from the Army Reserves. He is the executive director of KC Warriors Hockey and has also recently started up a maintenance and construction company. Is someone on for KC Warriors Hockey or is Matt on? I haven't seen him yet. Anybody on for Kansas City Warriors?
Hey, Emma, it's Adam.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hey, sorry about that. I was just texting Matt to see he might be having some technology issues, so I apologize.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable talking about Kansas City hockey?
Yeah, I am plenty comfortable talking about Kansas City hockey.
Okay.
Hold on, let me move my screen over so I'm looking.
Okay, let me get the timer up. Okay, you're going to have 8 minutes.
Oh, yeah, you don't need the timer, so I'm good. I can talk all day about it.
Okay, you can start.
So, Kansas City Warriors hockey. Sorry, I don't have there you go. Hockey operations. Kansas City Warriors hockey is a smaller part of the American Warriors hockey. It is we're up to about, I think, 70 to 80 teams throughout the country. Kansas City is one of the first ones. We started about 4 years ago. Right now, currently, we started with 8 people. That was our first practice. It was about 3 to 4 years. It was actually 4 years coming up in January. Now we're up to 70 people. We've been in tournaments all over the country. Everywhere from Texas to Minnesota to Omaha, Lincoln. it's a way for every soldier to give back. The only requirements is that they have some sort of disability rating throughout the military. So all of these players they're all disabled in one way or another, and they come from all now 6 branches of the service. So they go above and beyond anything. And they come from all walks of life. We have players that their first day putting on skates is with us. And a lot of the times it is no cost to the soldier. Hold on one second. Thanks. Sorry about that. Can you guys hear me all right? Emma, I don't hear you at all.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was muted.
Sorry.
I'm
Nope.
not talking. So
Nope.
yep.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
So the real thing is that we all found a love affair with hockey. That is what brings us all together. Some of us, as most of you know, I think there's a couple other vets out there. I've seen a couple flags in the background, is that, physical therapy, as we put as PT, physical training is kind of our therapy, is that, hey, it takes us back and it becomes a brotherhood. So that is what kind of binds us all together. And it's something that we can go to, because when you exit out of the service, or when you get out of law enforcement, or any thing that takes 24 hours a day out of you, you need to find something to hold to. And this is what a lot of us do, is that this is what the hockey and this organization pulls us all together. I've met people from all over the country. We've partnered up with the United Heroes League, which is out of, I believe it's Duluth, Minnesota. And they have a lot of equipment, and they donate a lot of the equipment. So we take a trip up there about once a month or once every 2 months to go get free equipment for people. And that can range anywhere between $100 to $1,000 that they need. So, and we come from all walks of life. We have everybody through one of our members, Johnny Neal, who helps run the Wounded Warriors Project here in Kansas City, to a couple Cerner executives, to guys that are pipe fitters and work for the unions. So we come from all different walks of life, and we've all kind of pulled together. And that's really what a lot of us have come to and have come to know. And we've grown over the years. I could talk for days on it. Emma, how much time do I have left?
You have 3.5.
Oh my God. 8 minutes is a lot.
You don't have to talk the whole time. We can ask questions.
Yeah, please ask away. Like it's, to be honest, it costs about $250 an hour to run the organization.
Okay.
We practice about 2 to 3 times a month.
Okay. Okay. So I've got a couple questions.
Sure. Shoot.
So the team are all veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all men, or are there women?
No, there's women on the team also. I think we have 3 or 4 women on the team. We have 2 teams, kind of a beginner's team. We call it a lower and an upper team, a more experienced team and a beginner's team. We have women on the team. We'll accept anybody.
Okay. And you said that anybody can participate, whether they've ever been on skates or not.
Exactly. Yep. We have
okay.
we have coaches that are there ready to help people with their skating ability. And we have coaches that are there to, I say, work on plays and drills and work on individual skills. Okay.
There's a question as to where do you play?
So we play at the Cable Dahmer Arena. There's 2 ice sheets there. We play, there's a community ice rink, and obviously the big rink where the Mavericks play. We play on the community rink side.
Okay. All right. Tell us a little bit about your public events. So you do practices as a team, but what about your public events?
Yep. So we go to, we do different events throughout the Kansas City area, meeting at different veteran businesses, veteran organizations, and just bringing awareness to them throughout the. I know Matt has the more detailed schedule, but we meet at VFW halls, American Legion halls, mostly up towards on the north side of the city right now.
Okay.
But we meet at, there's different veteran businesses that we'll get together and we'll go to, and we'll hang out there and bring them some business and just show awareness for that.
Okay, good. Anybody else have a question for Adam? We got about a.
So a lot of the things that we offer the veterans is when they're transitioning out, obviously, as you know, Emma, transition can be a hard time. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of us are versed in different skills. That's why I say we all come from all different backgrounds. Whether it's getting your VA disability rating, whether it's, hey, like for me, my specialty is in finances. So it's helping them create a budget, helping them, even if they're in a hard times, getting them connected with the right people. Even at the ACA, I've connected some of my friends. Hey, just call this guy. We need some help. We've worked with it's getting people in there that might be afraid to ask the right question. Just ask the question, and we're there to help. I know I moved about 18 months ago. I called the guys saying, hey, I need help. Okay. And we had 6 trucks in about 48 hours.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. So it's
so
not just
family. Yep.
It is. It really is. Like we'll go to, we'll bring everybody out to like Long Beach Lake or different areas and get together. It's, not just hot. It's branching out away from just being about hockey. It's about bringing everybody together.
Good. Okay. The timer has gone off.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring up the second presenter. Bring up the slides, please. And I'll do the intro. Okay. Next is our military support nonprofit. Phil Alvarado is the Kansas City chapter captain for Team Red, White, and Blue. This is an organization that provides a health and wellness community for veterans. I don't know if Phil is on the call. Is someone on the call who can speak to Red, White, and Blue? Anybody from Red, White, and Blue here?
Emma?
Yes.
This is James in Wichita. I'm a Team Red, White, and Blue member here in Wichita. I'm not really active, but I can give you a little background on the organization if that's what you'd like to do.
Yes, that's what we wanted to have for our second speakers to speak about the organization, what it is that they do. If you haven't picked up on the theme of the day, it is physical fitness and discipline, where in context of what we're about, we'd like to learn a little bit more about Team Red, White, and Blue.
Well, Team Red, White, and Blue, to the best of my understanding, and as I said, I'm not real active. They have organizations all across the country that are primarily veteran organizations to get veterans to have a more enriched life. Let me see if I can get you some definitive information here. For example, here in Wichita, I know they have a yoga group. They have a group that meets periodically to run. We have, I have a good friend that's one of the I would call him a commander here at the Wichita chapter, and he does. He's a running fool. He does 30-mile runs, And so there's approximately 250,000 active duty members in transition out of the military. And what Team Red, White, and Blue is, it gives them an opportunity to remove some of the isolation and health challenges, and it allows them to come together as a group to exercise at whatever level they're capable of. For example, on 9/11, I know here, and I think it's all across the nation, Team Red, White, and Blue does the 9/11 flag carrying function, where I go down here to Sedgwick County Park, and I'm not a crazy exerciser, but I'll go out and I'll walk a mile carrying the flag in memory of all those who lost their lives during 9/11. And so it's really kind of a neat community group, and a person can be as active or as inactive as they want to be. You can be as active as me. My idea of a regular exercise program is to fill the tub, take a bath, pull a plug, and fight the current. Or like my friend who goes out and runs 30 miles at a pop. I have difficulty driving 30 miles, but it's really a very unique organization. And I'm sure if anybody's interested in joining up, to the best of my knowledge, if I remember right, it's even free to join. Don't hold me to that, but
Yeah.
this is
I
kind
don't
of
know.
time to step up.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know a lot about it. I know people who are part of it here in Kansas City, but I also have a very good friend who's very, very active in it in Michigan. So what I understand of it, just to add to what you've already shared, is that a lot of the activities are physical activities. They're outdoors. Lots of running events, from what I can tell from the people that I know who do it. And I think it is very, very, unique as far as what the chapter is going to have for the activities, just based on where they are and who the participants are. So it's kind of similar to any association that has chapters, right? It kind of is geared towards the local participants, but there's a general purpose behind it that is focused on health and wellness. So, we don't have an organizational representative to really speak to it. So between James and I, we've used up 3 minutes of that speaker's opportunity. If all we really have is just kind of what we have to offer, then we kind of need to just go on as far as the next presenter, because any questions, we don't have the expert on the call to actually answer. So I'm a little disappointed we didn't have someone on. I know we have a pretty active chapter here in Kansas City. We just don't have the person on the program. So I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our third presenter. Okay, our military-friendly company. BJ Taylor is the owner and DJ for BJ Productions. He has a tagline of BJ the DJ for some of the events that I have seen him at. He supports the sound and production needs of a variety of events, to include the Patriot Run that occurs annually here in Kansas City on September 11th. So BJ, you're on the call somewhere, aren't you? Oh, shoot, he was on earlier, but where is he now? Okay. Well, I know a little bit about BJ. Okay. Well, maybe he was wrapping up from the event that he was in and traveled home. But okay, I guess I will speak a little bit to BJ's company. I don't know how long he's been in business. I would imagine that he's been in business for a little while. He actually is someone that I met through the Olathe Chamber, because he's their sound person for their weekly coffee. And I also have run into him at several veterans events, because he supported the sound for the Patriots Run, like I mentioned. And he actually is going to be our DJ and sound person at the event next week. I'll talk a little bit about that in the future announcements, but the American Warrior Social and guest speaker program that some of you may have been seeing some emails about. But In talking with BJ in his participation in this program, as well as in our event coming up next week, he does DJ and production work for weddings and other events that can be small and personal, but he also will do them for organizations if they've got things that require sound and production. He personally, participates as the DJ, but he's got a team of people that he works with as far as other production capacity for doing an event. And that was something that we saw earlier. That's something that we saw earlier because he was at an event and was in his vehicle because they were wrapping it up. And BJ is calling me right now. Okay. Hold on. Just a second. Hey, BJ, I'm kind of speaking for you. What's going on?
Well, it went blank and it disconnected me for some reason. I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't push any buttons. It just got the phone got hot and disconnected.
Okay,
And
well,
then, I tried to get back in on Zoom and it won't give me the email didn't have the ID number on it.
okay.
Never
Well,
did find
well,
the
I've
ID.
got you on speakerphone and holding you up to my computer. So can people hear him? Okay, go ahead and talk, BJ.
You want me to do my 8 minutes now?
Just go ahead and talk a little.
Yeah, Emma, we
you,
can't hear
Emma.
you anymore.
You're off.
Hello?
Can you
Here
go
you
ahead and
go.
say something?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, they can
Yes.
hear you now.
Okay. All right. And I joined this group in Kansas City that did because I was on a job that was ending up. I didn't have anything to do. So I joined this group that said, we need a salesman I said, for what? We're starting parties in Kansas City by disc jockeys. I said, oh, you mean bands? They said, no, we're going to have parties hosted by disc jockeys from now on. This was 1980. That's when wedding receptions didn't have disc jockeys. They had bands. So I crawled into the salesman's outfit and we started selling parties and we sold, we booked all the concerts in Kansas City, the Parks and Recreation concerts. And we're just, the guy who owned the company was a techno sound nerd and he just liked to have his sound and electronics, but he didn't have any salesmen. So I went in and had a little closet and started selling parties. Pretty soon, over the next 5 years, we increased the market in Kansas City so that the bands were no longer the primary selection of wedding receptions and other events, but it was disc jockeys. We just built that up, and we had 15 disc jockeys and 15 sets of equipment and 15 bands, and we just maxed out on the city, and we just spread it far and wide. We do a lot of outdoor concerts and inside events, and also disc jockey hosted shows. So it was something I just fell into and made something out of. Right now, years later, the guy who owned the company headed out, and he turned, because he went to a more lucrative ambition, and that was doing video. And he left me high and dry with the sound systems. And I said, okay, I ain't quitting here. So I kept on going and made my, since 1988 up until today, I've been working as an independent operator. It's self-employed as a disc jockey, BJ Productions, BJ the DJ. That's what they called me back then. And we do parties, all kinds of events. Being a disc jockey is give me a timeline. Being a disc jockey is interesting because, say, if you're going to a Christmas party or a wedding reception, you have to put on your load-in clothes, and then you load up all the equipment that you need, whether it's lights, video, sound systems, whatever, staging as well, and then set it all up, and then you go back into the bathroom and change your clothes into your tuxedo or whatever, come out, and ta-da, you do the show.
Hmm.
and you play it by ear, because a mobile disc jockey is not like a radio DJ or a club DJ where they have a script to follow. They have something set. It's all programmed. When you're a disc jockey at an event, you don't have a program. You have requests from the bride or the leader of the pack, but you play it by ear, and you have to be scoping out those people every second in order to, quote, play the right tune at the right time. Because your basic goal is to get that dance floor filled up. And if you play the sound that a tune that doesn't agree with the people, they will sit down. That's your immediate feedback. And so you got to change formats and get into something that's going to attract those people back out of the dance floor and keep them partying all night long. And that's one thing a disc jockey wants to do more than anything else. A mobile DJ, a party DJ, is keep people on the dance floor. Unless it's you got a program to follow, and there's a lot of events that you have to tie in with their program or their presentation as well. Give them the microphone. At a wedding reception, it's hard not to play ta-da, a spotlight entertainer. But I emphasize to all the disc jockeys I work with, you are not spotlight entertainer in a wedding reception. You are the facilitator, and you make them, whether it's the bride or the president of the company, they are the focal point. And so you have to get out of your ego space and play the music to get them going. And you can take great pride in having a successful show, but you're not spotlight entertainer. You're not something you want to direct their attention to the bride, or again, the company, or whatever it is. So you play second role here, but you know you're first because you made the party happen. And if you're a disc jockey, you can get those people on the dance floor and do a good show so that at the end of the evening, they say, wow, this is the best party we ever been to. They don't know why. You know why, because you play the right song at the right time and you acted the right way. You're not arrogant. You're not egotistical. You're playing for those people. Disc jockeys or people will say, well, what kind of music do you play? Well, I play all kinds. Well, what kind do you like? And that's a question which comes back with the answer, it don't matter. If anybody asks me, if a disc jockey asks me that, I like this, I say, you're not to be hired, because it's not what you like, it's what those people on the dance floor like. So you got to get out of your mode of thinking, I know all the songs in the world. You don't. You depend on your people in order to get feedback from them, in order to figure out how you can do the best party you've ever done. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's and there's interesting story. How many minutes?
You got a couple more minutes left.
There's interesting things that happen to a mobile disc jockey that don't happen to a radio DJ or a club DJ. And that's like, well, one time, you never can anticipate your crowd because you don't know your crowd. You don't know your market. You get there and you make your market, or you find out what it is that they are. And you have to blend in with that. And blending in is something that a skill that an accomplished mobile disc jockey has that other kind of disc jockeys don't have. And you have to be able to play what they want to hear in order to, but you also have to know that there's a lot of party dynamics going on, especially at a wedding reception, when you have to deal with the mother-in-law and you have to deal with the whole family. And when you get into that room, more than likely, most of the time at a wedding reception, you're going to see his family on one side of the room and her family on the other side of the room. And so, okay, turn it on, BJ, let's get them together. And then everything is geared toward getting those people to interact. I want those two families to interact, because at a wedding reception especially, this might be the first time that those two families have ever met each other, and they're sitting on one side or the other. And you have to format your presentation and your playing of the tunes in order to get those people to dance together. And you can use there's a lot of games and gimmicks that I use as well, whether it's little mix and match or little games that you can play between people to get them to interact. And that's what creates a good party. If you can get people to interact and share their own experiences with each other in a very subtle way, then you made it. Concerts are a different thing. You've got to be able to set up the sound system so that it's not the monitors are for the stage show, but the main stacks that you have in a concert are directed toward the audience. That's what you want to make sure is just right, because all those people are going to say this is a good concert or this is not a good concert. And the musicians don't matter as much as the sound does, and they don't know that.
All right.
Everybody goes away from a concert saying this is the greatest concert. It could be because of them. It was also because you put excellent sound out there. Sound is the one sense that we have that you can't turn off. You don't have to touch anybody. You don't have to look at anybody. You don't have to taste anything, the cakes, but you can't turn your ears off. So remember that you're a very important part of any sort of event, because they can't turn the sound off. You make that sound and you have to make it just right, or you will get hell from here on out.
Okay, very good. Very good. All right.
So that's something that veterans can get into and to learn how to do and take it from the top and go for the top.
Okay, we're going to go into the Q&A period now. And so this will open it up to the community to ask questions of the community or of the panel people. So let me, I guess I'll leave BJ on so that he can answer if there are questions. Yeah, the next segment of the program is just our Q&A period. So who's got a question? Who's got a question? Anybody? Okay, I have one for BJ.
Okay.
So BJ, tell us a little bit about the support you've done in the military support community, specifically for military focused events.
Military. I'm not military. That's another story a long time ago. I was supportive of the military, and I was supportive of our soldiers in Vietnam. I wasn't for the Vietnam War. So there's kind of a crossover. As far as military support goes, I'm totally behind that, even though I'm a non-military person. Every year we do an event on 9/11, no matter what day of the week it is. It's called the Patriots Run now. It used to be called the 9/11 Run. And we give credence to the people who serve our country and do their job in maintaining our stability and our integrity here in the United States. It's a run that happens on 9/11 this year. It's on a weekend. And we start at noon, and anybody who comes gets to start and see how long they can run in 9 hours and 11 minutes. So we end the event at 9/11 that night. In the past, some time ago, back in about 6 years ago, we were in touch with Bagram, and we got the Army base there to say, we will go with you. And I said, okay. It was in Bagram, it was 8:30 at night, our noon at this point. But they ran. There were 2,000 soldiers who ran in Bagram, Fort Bagram that day. I don't remember the name of the corps, but it's near Bagram. Other things about military is that we support. I've done a lot of supporting for the reserve officers and the other units around Kansas City that want a party to celebrate their own affiliation with the military in the United States, and I'm all for that.
All right, very good, very good. Anybody else have a question for BJ or the Kansas City Warriors hockey? Looks like Matt's on now. Maybe.
Yep, I'm here, Emma. I'm going to start my video up here real quick.
Okay.
There we go.
Hey, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. I apologize for my delay, everyone. It's starting a small business and all hell breaks loose sometimes. So I apologize, but I am here.
Good. Adam was able to talk to us a little bit about the Kansas City Warriors. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business? You said that you just started it to help support the Warriors?
Well, kind of, yeah. So the Warriors is a great mission, but it doesn't feed people. It's a good source of community. It's a good therapy program, but it just doesn't put food on the table for a lot of people. So Last year, this time, I started talking to another guy who's a construction manager for a fast food chain here in Kansas City. And we just started looking together to try to find ways maybe to help some of the warriors that were at the time either unemployed or underemployed. And, fast forward a year later, and so we're fast tracking to becoming general contractors. And we do some of the work for the franchise now. We do a lot of their maintenance work. And then we're trying to get to the point where we can actually build the restaurants. There's a little bit of work there that has to go in, and definitely a steep learning curve, but we got a good team, and we're doing pretty good. Last year we did towards the end, we started out last year and we did 30,000 at the end of the year. We're on track to do 300 this year in sales. And so next year I'd like to add another 0 to that. We'll see if we get lucky. But so it's kind of cool. It's a lot of fun, but it's just being married to the job. And I think, the Warriors have definitely, it's just a lot to learn, right? So the entrepreneurial journey is just different. It's like you're always standing on crumbling ground. And so the Warriors have, I focused all my time and energy in Blackhawk. And so I think that, my ability to support the Warriors is definitely kind of, taking a hit there. So one of the things I've learned through this, or I guess I continue to learn, is that the importance of just having a really good team and a really good support team, so that if you have to step out of something that whatever you're working on doesn't rely solely on you, building something that's bigger than you is so important. And I feel like I kind of failed to do that a little bit with the Warriors. So trying to kind of rebuild the group and bring everybody back to center so that they can continue to, provide programming and continue to grow. And the Warriors still has great traction. But it deserves so much more than I'm capable of getting right now. So it's, if we're talking about entrepreneurial stuff, like that's definitely something I'm learning as I go forward is how to, I guess, succession planning maybe, and and how to keep your things going. I'm still trying to support the community, trying to create jobs for veterans, for disabled veterans, and and for myself too, right? Like, got to feed the kids, but being able to still find time to support our community. I think like that's really kind of my why, and that's what excites me about getting out of bed every day.
Nice. It's good to hear about the new adventure.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Other questions for either Matt or BJ? I think BJ's still on there. Okay.
It went off again. I hope you can hear me. I couldn't hear the last speaker at all.
Oh, it might have been because you fell off the call. Ever done this way? So we're kind of improvising as far as the technical stuff right now. So
good.
Okay. Another question for either Matt or BJ. Matt, how about you tell us a little bit about how do KC Warriors get involved? Do they have to sign up? Is there like a vetting process for folks before they start playing? Or is there kind of a community aspect and the playing aspect, or everybody who's part of it has to play? Let's go. Just explain it a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Everybody kind of finds their way to the Warriors on their own. Like, we do some table events, usually at the hockey games for the Mavericks or something like that, right? And then a lot of referral-based stuff. A guy who knows a guy or a gal or so on and so forth. There's an application process. We get all their basic information, check their 214, look at their VA disability rating, and make sure that kind of meets our disabled hockey criteria. So to play for USA Hockey disabled events, you have to have at least a 10% or better, or you have to have at least a 10% VA disability rating. So we check that. And then, we welcome all veterans, first respond, just veterans to practices. But when we go to our away tournaments, the National Disabled Hockey Festival is coming up in November, so we're going to go to Philadelphia and play in that. So that's something where we have to have our paperwork correct. We have to have everybody that goes has to have the 10% or better disability rating, and so that's what they do. And then we vet them, make sure they're good to go, and then. And then we have a couple of programs. We have kind of a more skilled, a more advanced program. Then we have a remedial program. So, for example, you, Emma, if you decide you wanted to, I don't know if you can skate, right? But if you decided you wanted to play hockey, that you would show up and we would put you kind of in our beginner program. We get you your equipment that you need, teach you how to ice skate, and then we teach you how to play hockey, right? And then we have some people in our program that played Division I college hockey. You know, Adam was a college hockey player, and so he's very skilled. He knows what he's doing, but you know, we have to have those two different levels to keep people like him interested, and then create a space where you can learn as well. But then we kind of all come together in a community aspect. We have a program that we use to talk and you know, kind of go back and forth with and chat. And then we try to do some social engagements a few times a year too, where it's not hockey focused. We just get together and have a camp out, or we get together and go canoeing, or, you know, something like that. So we try to have some fun.
Yeah. Somebody asked about whether or not you have a website. Is that how they apply?
Yeah. So kcwarriors.com.
Okay.
And then we're on Facebook and you know, all that good stuff too. So, you know, we've got Facebook and we're at KC Warriors under Facebook. So I'm trying to get back. There we go. Trying to get back to the video. And then for there, we've got the Instagram as well. So kcwarriors.com is the best way to get a hold of me.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
All right. Very good. Other questions for Matt or BJ? Okay. BJ, I got a question for you. You still there?
Okay, can you hear me? I can't hear Matt at all, but I can hear you very well.
Okay. So my question is, you said you kind of fell into the DJing environment. Was the work that you were doing already in production and entertainment?
Well, I was with a group of people. We had kind of a quote commune, and we started buying properties in Kansas City and renovating them, and just worked as a team. We had about 30 people who just joined together and said, "Hey, let's rebuild some part of Kansas City." So that's what we're doing. Everybody had houses. I had a hall. It's called the Manor Hall at 39th and Troost. And this is something we got on a foreclosure. It was all boarded up. So I took it. I said, I'll tack that. Nobody else wanted to do it. So I said, I'll take it on. So we had a 4,000 square foot dance hall on the second floor where Count Basie actually played when he came to Kansas City.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then there was a bottom floor, which was 2 retail outlets. So I was in, you know, we did a lot of parties there. After we renovated the halls, a lot of community action groups came in and concerts and different things. So we were just playing, you know, development by the seat of our pants. Didn't know what we were doing, but we made it happen.
Okay. All right. Very good.
That's what I
kind of
jobs.
Came from. Okay. All right. We're going to move on to our transition tips speaker and hear a little bit about you know, just some paradigm shifts and things of that nature. So our transition tips speaker is Andrew Marks. He is a Missouri National Guard officer candidate. He actually just completed his training and will be receiving his second lieutenant commission in just a couple weeks. In his civilian work, he's a country financial insurance professional. And he's also the American Warriors club leader for the ACA Northland Club. So Andrew, you are up to speak some transition tips about physical fitness and discipline.
Yeah, absolutely. Can everybody hear me? We good?
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. So yes, I'm I hate looking at that picture. So I'm a country financial rep here in the Northland. My office is located in Briarcliff. So I'm kind of by I live in Gladstone. I'm real close to Parkville and whatnot. But yeah, physical fitness has become a really huge passion of mine. I was an enlisted artilleryman for 6 years. So again, I was just in the National Guard, haven't done any active duty time. But I got out in 2016. I didn't have the ability to get re-enlisted. That picture, if you look on the left, that was about 6 months after I got out. So I bubbled up real quick. But no, my discipline went away. And I just really stopped caring. I kind of hit that rut of hit the civilian world. I didn't have a sergeant to tell me what to do. I was going to go out and do whatever I wanted to do. And again, in case you can't tell, that hit me really hard. And about 2018, I'll never forget, I was laying in bed and I just said, this isn't who you are, man. You know, you've always been disciplined. You've always taken care of yourself. And I came to the point in my life where I'm like, I need a change. And I heard about this real fad thing called the keto diet. And I hit that real hard. I did that for a solid year and a half, and I ended up losing 130 pounds. And for me, you know, ever since I was a little kid, I'm like, I want to be an army officer. You know, I want to be the leader of soldiers in combat, and never worked out. I did ROTC for a few years. I'm like, that's not going to happen. I really like my job on the enlisted side, blowing stuff up with big, massive cannons. And again, I put that dream away. I said, it's never going to happen. But again, 2019, I'll never forget, I was at the Kansas City Air Show, and I was JFO qualified when I was enlisted. And so they had A-10s there. I'm like, man, I miss this. You know, I miss being in uniform. I miss the big guns. I miss the pretty airplanes. And my wife bet me, she's like, okay, go and rejoin the Army. I bet you won't do it. Well, she woke up the next morning when she got home from work to a picture of me outside the recruiting office. And I went back in the Army as an officer. And for me, when it comes to physical fitness, I got out of the Army a fat PT failure. Again, in case you can't tell from that picture that Emma loved to post. To me, about a week and a half ago, that picture on the right being a fat PT failure to winning high PT in my OCS class and maxing out the old PT test and one of the first Missouri National Guardsmen to max out the new ACFT. So for me in my personal life, just, you know, kicking butt and getting there. But I know a lot of times for military, and I can relate to, you know, you get out of the military, you know, whether you're Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, whatever you might be, you know, we lived for many, many years of having somebody telling us what to do, especially when it comes to physical fitness. And the military is really good about sucking any sort of joy you have in your life out of something. And one of the big things that I did that motivated me to get back in shape was, I'm not doing it for anybody else but myself. I'm not doing it for my spouse. I'm not doing it, you know, for my kids. I'm not doing it for an employer or to just even look good when I go out. I'm doing it because I want to hold myself to a higher standard. And anybody out there that, you know, that was in the military, you know, people that are, you know, they're supportive of the military, that's a huge mindset that we have, that I need to be one step above everybody else. And for me, you know, I'm about to commission as an officer here in 13 days. It's one step even above that not only am I above, you know, being out of the civilian world, you know, and raising up my right hand like everybody else has, but now being a little leader of people that have done that and holding yourself to a super high standard. And one of my big things is discipline. You know, when it comes to physical fitness, it's getting up early in the morning and going for a run. I felt really good about my running 4 to 5 miles a day until James talking about the red, white, and blue, and these people are going out running like 8 or 9 miles a day. Like, hats off to those people, because I couldn't do that. But using physical fitness as a way to maintain a sort of discipline in my personal life, but also using it as a way of, you know, burning off stress, as a way of when I have a bad day, utilizing physical fitness as a way to maintain discipline in my life. You know, again, talking about in the military, you know, physical fitness is one aspect of it, but in addition to it, like, we're held to a higher standard and we have to do things we just straight up don't want to do. OCS, you know, everybody, we make fun of the officers, you know, they live a nice cushy lifestyle. And a lot of times, especially like your OCS officers, OCS was not a walk in the park. It was very difficult. It was very, I want to say, it was very hard, but it teaches you not just leadership, but it teaches you that you can do it, that you can keep yourself on a disciplined regimen, that you can make decisions. You don't necessarily need 8 hours of sleep at night and 3 meals a day. I just spent the last 2 weeks out at JBLM Joint Base Lewis McChord out in Washington State, and we averaged probably about 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night for 2 weeks straight, and then running 8 to 9 hour missions a day. And it absolutely was terrible. Never want to do it again. But at the same time, I learned a lot about myself, and that there are things in this world that I look at it on paper and go, there's no way I can do that. But then when I actually go to do it, I go, you know what? This royally sucks, but I can do it. And transitional military, going from the military side and going into the civilian world, it's big and it's terrifying. And those of you on the call that have done that transition, you can relate and you can understand how different it is. And for me, and Em and I have gotten together multiple times. I don't know how many of you out there are reserves, National Guard, but for me, I have an interesting point of view being in the Guard and in the reserve Guard/reserves, that you have to balance that civilian life with a military obligation. And how do you do that? Again, looking at those pictures, me on the left, that was enlisted Sergeant Marks that just got married, that didn't really care about his military career. I had a civilian career. I had a family that I had to take care of. And I just kind of said the military is kind of just this thing on the side I don't really care about. And I mean, just by looking at that, you can tell I didn't care about my military obligations. That discipline was out the window. So I don't know how many out there, if you were in the military, if you weren't in the military, you support, veterans and transitional military, you have an awesome opportunity to employ people that do have discipline. They have the ability to work hard. They have the ability to lead. You just have to give them that opportunity to demonstrate that. One of the big things, again, Emma and I have talked about is, civilians that say they support the military. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you actually do that besides, saying you're a military friendly business and tying a yellow ribbon out in the front of your office or your home or anything like that? What does it actually mean to be a military friendly company? And that's why one of the ways that I got involved in the Purple Connection is it's a great bridge for civilians to understand what it means to relate and understand military personnel and ex-military.
All right, very good. Okay, thank you so much to all of our presenters. We're gonna have to wrap up the event. I try to keep it to an hour, and so we're a little bit behind. But thank you everyone for your information and educating us with your remarks. Go ahead and bring up the slides, David, and I'll start wrapping it up. Okay, so becoming an American warrior, if you're interested in getting a little bit more involved in what we are doing, being a member of the club gives you access to a lot of resources. And when you're a member of the club, you have access to any of the club facilities that we have anywhere. Here in Greater Kansas City, we currently have 3 club facilities and 2 more that are coming up. We have interest groups where American Warriors is just about one. There's over 20 of them. And everybody who's a member is in business in some capacity, whether they own it or they're an account manager or they're some associate of a business. You can join a business development team. There are events and opportunities to network and learn every single week, and opportunities to step up to leadership as well, as far as teams, groups, or clubs. The Purple Connection and the Strengths Profile are events that I do with my business, and those are available for American Warriors and anyone in the club to participate in. We do have routine events for the American Warriors. The discussion group is a once a month activity that we do. It is available virtually or in person. Next week is actually going to be the first American Warriors social and guest speaker program. And then there's leadership opportunities by being part of the executive committee, which Andrew is a member of the executive committee because he's a club leader of the Northland location. And then the club committees for the clubs that have them. Next slide. Okay, so future events, I mentioned some of this already. The fourth Thursday of every month from 2 to 3 is our American Warriors discussion group. This month, however, we're going to have the social and guest speaker program. That's going to be something that we'll have every August and February from hereafter. The first Thursday of every month is the Intro to Strengths Profile. And that's an opportunity to learn a little bit about this tool that can help improve self-awareness, introduce you to some common language that you can use in communicating to folks who might not otherwise understand where you're coming from in the military. And then the Purple Connection is this event, which is every third Thursday of the month. It is a virtual event. Next slide. Okay, so our lineup for next month's Purple Connection is going to be Thursday of September 16th. Our veteran entrepreneur is going to be Heath Stewart, who is a Marine Reserves veteran. He's a lawyer, has his own law office. The military support nonprofit is going to be Rich Karasi. He's a retired U.S. Army colonel. He'll be representing Military Matters. Our military-friendly company presenter is Kathy Lucas. She does employee benefits and is a Legal Shield associate. And our transition tip speaker is Sean Lee, also a lawyer and a U.S. Army veteran. He will talk to the topic of the day, which is transition challenges regarding legal matters. Next slide. Okay, so I mentioned this briefly. Next week, Thursday, August 26th, this is our inaugural event for the American Warriors social and guest speaker program. I am going to be one of the speakers. Mel Carney is also going to be a speaker. He's a Vietnam vet. And Zeke Crozier, who is an Afghanistan vet, will be the other guest speaker. Andrew will be our MC. BJ is our DJ. And we actually have several members of the call who are helping to sponsor the event. So Sharon Keller of Keller Williams, me and my business, Andrew and his business, as well as BJ and Kansas City AUSA and WGU. Those are the other sponsors of the event. Next slide. So if you have any questions whatsoever about any of the various activities and events that you can engage in that American Warriors or I am doing, just send me a note, send me a text, however you want to reach me. And if you have questions as far as who was on the call that maybe you didn't get information from in the chat channel, you can request a connection through me, and I can facilitate that connection. Next slide. All right, last slide. So thank you everybody for being here. We did go just a little bit long. Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. I hope to see you all next week at the social. If you're local to Kansas City, the program will get recorded. So if you are not local to Kansas City, you can register for the event and get a link to the recording, just like this event. So that's all we have for today. And thank you very much for your attendance and your participation. I look forward to seeing you at the next event.